Show. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to a live on remote from Florida edition of I think Notre Dame's a better program than the Notre Dame fan base thinks or realizes edition of the Always Irish Show. I realize that's kind of a convoluted title, but I really believe it. And there's a theory behind this. So follow me here on this Florida journey, if you will. As always, thanks for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do hit subscribe. Spit it out, Florida boy. Do hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps the Ani boy out as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you can get it. Don't want to see my face? Nobody blames you for that. How do you think these golfers feel looking at some guy yelling on the balcony while they're putting out for their triple bogey, if you will? Notre Dame Fighting Irish on SI. Read all about it every day, every sport. Patreon.com/Always Irish. Former captain, leading tackler, Mike Goolsby and myself breaking it all down. Can't wait to be in town. Down to clown, baby. Blue and gold weekend. We got a lot cracking. The tailgate Saturday morning. Enjoy the football game. Head over to the linebacker where the former linebacker is going to be, and we're going to do a post-game show live. We want all of our people there, man. New people that have been in the Always Irish Goolsby Kennedy family before. Everybody's welcome. Let's do it big, do it right. All right, let's get into this. I think there's an argument to be made that the Notre Dame program is better than most Notre Dame fans think. Here's my theory. When you are so close to a football team, the way that our diehard fan base is, I'm talking year round, every day you're reading articles, you're thinking about Notre Dame football, even in the summer, you're analyzing every position group and every strength and weakness, every single detail gets broken down. This is not my channel's not a Big Ten channel, and our team's a part of that. But I'm talking about all the teams and the conference overall, whatever. It's Notre Dame every day, 100% full go Notre Dame. Every thought that I have, Notre Dame. And I do think the independence has something to do with this. A lot of these channels like mine cover teams that are in these conferences, and you could branch out a little bit and talk about the other teams, and it's all relevant because it's in your conference, so what they do is relevant to you. Notre Dame's a little singular, isolated in that way. So I contend that our media contingent and fans are so embedded in Notre Dame land only. I think you notice everything, and then you start analyzing the flaws and worrying about the weaknesses on the team and everything more than you would if you had a more well-rounded look at everything going on in the landscape. So I think when you're so obsessed with one team the way I am, and you're analyzing it every day, you start looking at every flaw and worrying about it and magnifying it. Is this good enough? Is that good enough? Here's where I think we're weak, whatever. Through that, I think I can angle that this program's better than we think it is. Why do I say that? I think there's evidence. You didn't win the championship, but you came pretty darn close. You made it to the last game of the year, and even though the Ohio State game was ugly for large amounts of it, where Notre Dame almost looked borderline non-competitive for like a full second quarter or whatever, it ended up being the closest championship game margin in many years, actually. If you look at it, it may not have felt like that through stretches of that ball game. But you pushed that talented Ohio State roster to end up with the closest margin of victory in a title game in a while. And you did it with what I consider to be a very flawed, banged-up roster. Think about it, man. You had all those injuries. I'll never forget Al Golden saying, I've been around the game 40 years. I've never seen anything like this stretch of injuries. It's unbelievable. I've never seen it before. So you had catastrophic injuries to many guys on the two deep and the starting lineup on both sides of the ball, especially up front on both lines. So you entered the playoff with that dynamic. What I considered not a very dangerous pass game that teams had to really, truly worry about. The D-line was not what I wanted it to be due to injury, some of it due to just personnel, even without injury, not what I wanted it to be. A mostly one-dimensional quarterback. I don't think there was any defensive coordinator that's looking at Notre Dame film entering the playoff being like, you know what I'm really worried about? Riley Leonard beating us with the pass game. With his legs, definitely. But I don't think any of those D coordinators were going, I really got to scheme up how to stop Notre Dame's dynamic passing game. I don't think that was a thing. So when you look at the injuries, some of the worries I had at the defensive line up front, the ability to pass the ball with both the quarterback and the receivers, you look at all that, and those were areas of concern to me for most of the year and then entering the playoff. None of those areas were where I wanted this to be. And you were the second best team in the country, and you played really, really good football for most of the year and then into the playoff. It's actually really impressive what Notre Dame did if you think about it this way. Here's the other part of it. You made this deep playoff run and got to the brink of winning a championship. And I don't even think the recruiting has come near what the ceiling of the recruiting at the high end should be under Marcus Freeman. So then I look at this. All the injuries, worries up front, the passing game not scaring anybody, the recruiting leading into that title appearance year, not what I wanted it to be, not nearly as good as I wanted it to be and thought it could be under Freeman. And you still made it to the brink of a championship. And I think this is a good thing. What do I mean by that? How could I say this is a good thing? Here's why. You came very, very close to winning the championship, and you were nowhere near a complete team. I kind of envision Notre Dame making their next title run heading into like last year. I envision me having to sit there and say, this is a complete Notre Dame team, as complete as it's going to be. I don't see any key weaknesses. I feel really good about every area of the ball club. The injuries, I always thought if Notre Dame's going to make a run in the modern era, having a pretty clean slate of health entering the playoff would be a big part of it. You did not have that at all. You are nowhere near healthy at full strength doing all this. You have all of those worries and flaws and presented a team to the playoff that was nowhere near as complete as I wanted it to be. And you still almost won the championship. That is a great sign. It's not a good sign you didn't win it this year, but it's a great sign that shows this program accomplished a lot, nowhere near as good as it could be under Freeman. That means there's a lot of room to grow. There's a lot of room to get better. There's a lot of room to get back to the playoff with more of a full team with health and talent than I think we were able to physically put on the field for this playoff run. I think that's a good thing. It would be different if you fell short to Ohio State and I felt like this is as good as it's going to get. The health, you almost had nobody out in the two deep. Dangerous passing game, receivers all over, quarterback that can run it and throw it. Like you're healthy, whatever. You got everything cooking, plus the health part. And you feel like, you know what I mean? Everybody's followed teams in college or pro sports where you were like, this is our chance to make a run. And if we're going to do it, it's got to be this year because you have all these things going for you. And then the band's going to break up. People are going to go pro, whatever it is. You didn't have that. You came so close with a flawed roster in a lot of areas for a lot of reasons. That shows me, what could a healthy Notre Dame roster be? What could it be with the dangerous wide receiving core and a quarterback who can run it and throw it that people are scared of? And you have your health. I think this is a real positive because this was nowhere near what I think a top line Freeman team is going to look like. And you still made it this close. I'd feel differently if I said this is as good as it's going to get. You better get it this year because you're going to lose a lot of your contributors. And what are the odds you're going to be this healthy again for a playoff run? Nope. You don't have any. You didn't have any of that. So, one, I think this shows what you did with nowhere near a complete football team in my championship winning complete team, in my opinion. Maybe you disagree, but that's where I'm at. And here's number two. Real credit goes to Marcus Freeman and his staff for taking such a limited roster for a lot of reasons and making this run. I think I could argue Freeman, he's doing a better job on the field with his development of getting all this stuff going than he is in the recruiting. And I thought it would be the other way around. I thought there would be a longer run out of years needed for Freeman to get comfortable and win these playoff games and show more confidence at the podium and get the guys to play their best when it matters the most. Strategically, some of the way you're handling things, I thought that part may take Freeman longer. I could argue he's developing quicker there than the recruiting operation's been able to be where I want it to be. So when I look at all this, obviously the best case outcome would have been to figure out a way to beat Ohio State. You get that championship. We're having a different discussion, and this program is in a different stratosphere as far as credibility. But I'm telling you, I think this program might be better than we give it credit for. You were so flawed, and you look what you did. Nowhere near full strength what this program's capable of under Freeman. So I think this is a good sign. I think it's a good sign. And I think we're so used to analyzing our own flaws because we're in Notre Dame land so much. You focus on the little cracks or what's wrong and not good enough. If you zoom out and you look at it as, look at how close this program came, nowhere near the high point of what it should be under Freeman. There is a lot of room to grow and get a lot better as the recruiting theoretically gets better and you're able to go into a playoff with more health, with an offense that scares people with the run and the pass, like there, and still bring a good defense to town every week. There is a lot of room to grow on the high end here. And I think this program may be further along and more stable than we even realize. Now, this theory is going to get tested. 25 is going to be tough. The front part of that schedule is tough. You got a lot of key pieces to replace. The new quarterback thing, making sure the defense doesn't drop off under Ash. So this theory is going to be tested heavily. But I'm throwing it out there. I think we may be a more stable, high-end program than we give ourselves credit for. Look at the run you made, nowhere near what I think a top-end Freeman team should look like. What do you guys think about this? Is this wishful thinking by Johnny Boy breathing in the Florida air? What do you think? Let me know. Don't forget to check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. You can browse and carouse all the different Always Irish gear. Make sure you head over there and get something for the next tailgate. Thanks for being here.